Hi guys, it's Kasim. I hope all is well. Welcome back again to my channel. As I say, I hope all is well. I'm going to talk about this, what you can see basically, this topic, turning 20 with nothing to show for it. Um, as you guys probably know, if you don't know, if you haven't come across me before, I'm training to become a psychotherapist. I'm due to become a psychotherapist very shortly. I've been training for the last 3 years. Um, so the advice that I'm going to give you isn't from a psychotherapist point of view, but you have to understand that, of course, being somebody who has trained to become a psychotherapist, certain elements of psychotherapy are going to come into the advice that I'm going to give you. And the reason why I say this is because psychotherapists aren't don't give advice. And so that's why I say this. But obviously, today I will be giving advice on this because I thought this question was something that I could relate to, and I think a lot of us can relate to. And I just wanted to perhaps give you some value in some way. I don't know if you've listened to my other videos, but I spend every day going to schools, colleges, and universities, and talking to young people about mental health and talking to them about how they can improve their lives. I work for a big company called Kooth. It's an online mental health company, which is for young people between the ages of 10 and 25. So that's why. And whenever I go to schools and colleges, students are always asking me questions around this sort of stuff. So I thought I'd create a platform where I can answer some of these questions that students ask me. Okay, here we go. So, turning 20 with nothing to show for it. This is from Billy Cartnorbert. Cartnorbert. Cartnobar. Nice name. I'm a 19-year-old male and I'm turning 20 in November, and I just feel a bit down about it. Everyone says that 20 to 21 is meant to be the best part of your life, but I don't feel anything. I heard that the holiday between A level and university, the break between the end of school and university for non-British people, is meant to be the best break of your life, but I didn't do anything. Everyone I know is going out, having fun, doing cool stuff in relationships. They all have something cool that's going on, and I feel a bit left behind. I have one good friend, no relationship ever in any way, been trying to go out and do stuff, but no one really to go with, a load of other stuff. It just feels very isolating, like I have, and I'm wasting the supposed prime of my life. All I can say all I can say I have is playing instruments and writing, producing my own music, which essentially means me sitting in my room working on my stuff by myself, which also feels like losing the time I'm meant to be enjoying. Over the last 10 years of my life, I have so few moments I can look back on fondly, which are drowned by a bunch of sadness and isolation. I'm feeling a bit lost and I'm not sure what to do. Wow. Billy Cartnober, what a great question. There is so much that I want to share with you. I'm actually going to work backwards and I'm going to call you out on something that you said. You say, I have nothing to show for my life. I disagree. I disagree very heavily. The reason why I say I disagree is because many years ago, one of my main mentors is a guy called Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn said that one of the keys to happiness is gratitude. And in order to move forward in life, we have to appreciate that we've already made some progress. So the reason why I'm calling you out for this is because you say you have nothing to show for it, but yet you've one, you've made it to 20 years of age, nearly 20 years of age. That's the first thing that I would say to you. Man, you're alive. You sound healthy to me. You sound as somebody who's intelligent, that you play multiple instruments. You sound as if you're of sound mind. You sound like a reasonable human being because you've actually thinking about your life. You're thinking about ways to make a contribution, to live a fulfilling life. So when you say that I have nothing to show for it, I would pull you up and say, man, you've made it. You've won the lottery. You're alive, right? You're healthy. So that's the first thing that I would say about this. The second thing that I would add on to this is again, I'm going to pull you up on this. I don't agree with you when you say you haven't achieved anything. And I quote, um, all I can say is have been playing music, playing instruments and writing and producing my own music, which means me sitting in my own room. Let's stop right there. Firstly, you can play an instrument. How many people in the world can play an instrument? Not very many. Two, you're writing. Writing means that you're a reflective person. It means that you're a naturally creative person, right? You're producing, which means you've figured out things that you're naturally good at and you're actually working on them. And then the second thing, which is the most important thing, or third thing, technically, if we're talking in order, is discipline. In order to be in your room and learn how to play the guitar and learn how to produce your own music, this means, unless you're some naturally gifted person, but for the vast majority of us, in order to play an instrument, and to produce music, you usually have to YouTube it. You usually have to get shown it by somebody. You then have to practice. You then have to get good. You then have to go through an intermediary process to mastering it, to then copying other people and getting influences and trying to make your own sound. So when you say to me, I have nothing to show to it, to show, I disagree. And the second thing is attached to this, or fourth thing, technically speaking, is because you have been in your room and you have been mastering and being disciplined and working at create your natural leaning, most people perhaps you haven't seen it. It's ironic, it's always funny to me that the thing that people admire the most about us in life is the thing that we don't think is really that significant. You've seen things like X Factor, you've seen things like Britain's Got Talent. How many times do people go up and sing, and they've been working in like Tesco's or they've been working in Waitrose, and they go up and they get a standing ovation and they're shocked that they've got this standing ovation. And they're like, really? You guys think I'm this good? And then it's ironic because usually they don't even like being in the public. They don't like people listening to them. So it's so weird that sometimes, not always, but in many cases, the very thing that we don't admire and we think is normal about us is the thing that people love the most about us, right? So I would say to you that perhaps one of the reasons why you haven't broadened your friendship group is because you haven't exposed to people some of the things that you're naturally good at, some of the things that make you unique. I know that there are people out there, and I'm talking bands, right? A lot of bands have been created, and people have had these incredible relationships and friendships and love, all because they found some other people who play the bass guitar, who play the drums, and they've collaborated and partnered with them to create something magical. So, what I would say to you, which is another thing, which I guess technically is the fourth or fifth thing, is to get to go, if you want to socialize and broaden your friendship group, go to the places where in the areas that you're naturally good at, meaning playing music, writing and producing, people are going to be. One, what I mean is go on forums where people who play music and write and produce music go. Go to concerts. Go by yourself. Go to a pub concert. You are 18 now, so you can go to any pub, and you don't obviously need to like to go with somebody else. I have gone to so many gigs by myself, right? In almost every city, there are like emerging bands which do gigs, right? Or they do not concerts, but they do like these sets in between, usually it's somewhere between like 7 and 9 o'clock in a pub, in like an Irish pub. Go there. You don't have to drink any alcohol, but just listen, observe people. You'll be shocked. And I have found some of the friendliest people that I have met in my life are in music. People who love music at their core are just friendly people. And I'm assuming you're exactly one of those people. Because if you're into writing, producing instruments, you must be somebody who's a creative. You must have at your heart love. Love must be at the center of everything that you do, right? and I just even the way that you've written this is just I find it so interesting. I even by the way, I just want to draw your attention to something I even found fascinating. This is now my therapist thing coming through. You write, I also heard that the holidays between A levels and university, and then you write bracket the break between the end of school and university for non-British people, which means that you're also inclusive. You're also empathetic. You're also somebody who is agreeable. You think about other people. You want to include other people. You want other people to understand your perspective. The second thing that I would say, or sixth thing, technically, if we're following by order, is share your passion. People will come to you. If you are writing and producing, get on YouTube. This isn't about making money. This isn't about being rich. This is about getting out there and showing the world what you can do. Put your music on Spotify. Put your music on, oh, what is it? I think there is a something cloud, SoundCloud, I think it is for music. This isn't about you getting rich. This isn't about you getting popular. This is about putting your stuff out into the universe and let's see what happens. In other words, in order for people to see you, you have to expose yourself. Most people don't know people because most of us have hidden the best parts of ourselves from people because those parts that are our best selves are the parts of us that we do take, we're more sensitive to, where there are vulnerabilities. If we share our music and people don't like it, well, they might judge us. They might say, I don't like your music. They might say, you're copying. They might critique us. But the thing is, a lot of some people say things like in order to find yourself you should not be in a relationship, you should be alone and find yourself. I've never agreed with that because so much of discovering who we are, we're social creatures, and so much of becoming who we are is going to be a reflection of how we interact with other people and what we put out into the universe and comes back to us, right? And so if you put nothing out there, you ain't getting nothing back. And so now I'm being like the harsh uncle, harsh friend sort of thing. How much of yourself are you pushing out there, Billy? Is my question to you. You may not be Billy, but I'm just assuming your name is Billy, by the way. How much of yourself are you putting out there? Do people know you? Have you shared who you are with people? Is the question that I would pull you up on. That's what I would say personally. By the way, the other thing that I would say to you is this is very normal. Everything that you're experiencing is very, 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 very normal. There's lots and lots of us who've gone through exactly the same period. This is what's called a transition period. You're going through a transition at the moment, right? Basically, what a transition means is there are some things that worked. And so, systems, usually in this, I'm talking about systems, mindsets, friendships, relationships that worked, but when you get to a transition, it basically means you've reached a level where you need to change or you need to rejiggle, you need to shift, you need to recalibrate some of the systems, some of the relationships, right? And some of the mindsets that you've developed. And so my question to you is, have you started to, for example, look at your systems? You may have been really, really got away with doing really well in your academics because you've been naturally gifted and you don't have to study very much. Have you now, do you now need to change your system so you start revising? Maybe for you, you have what's worked for you is isolating yourself and being alone. But actually, there might be a mindset that you required now where you've got to go out there and initiate. Before, you've always waited for everything to come to you and then you've responded. You might have to have a mindset where you now are the kind of person who you're creating. You go out there and create opportunities. You go out there and start stuff, right? And in relationships, a lot of us, the relationships that we have in our lives aren't the relationships that we are best for us. We have relationships based on familiarity. In other words, the friendships and the relationships that you've had have been at our convenience. It's because of common places. You've gone to the same places, you see the same people, and it's just easy. You go to school, you go to college, you see everybody. So those friends have been at our convenience, but not friends or relationships because they're the ones that are best for you. If you are trying, let's say you're a woman and you want to try to have a baby, your best friend is maybe a wonderful person. but a midwife is better to have, right? This doesn't mean that you don't have your best friend there to support you, but a midwife is going to be more knowledgeable. Their skills are going to be better to help you in trying to deliver this baby. And so if you don't seek out the midwife, then unfortunately the fault is on your hand. And I'm not saying it's your fault, but I'm just saying to you, accountability. You have to start asking, what's your part in this, right? Not everything can be everybody else's fault. There can be parts where other people do need to take responsibility, but also there's always an element of ownership that we have to claim. And I would say to you is, what parts have you claimed that have led to you being in this situation? But remember that this is a very normal situation. The other thing is, I would say to you, be very careful of this comparison game, man. Billy, be very careful of this comparison game. And the reason why I say this to you is we do actually need to compare ourselves with other people because it helps us gauge where we are and if we're on track and how we're doing. And if we're not doing okay, we do actually need other people in order to basically hold us accountable and stop us from going too far. But we can lose who we are in trying to please other people and trying to get love and validation and acceptance from other people. So a huge thing that I would start saying to you is start doing the work. And by doing the work, I mean start figuring out these 5 questions that I say to everybody, you want to try to figure out as best that you can. And these questions will change as your life changes. 1, who am I? 2, what's my story? 3, where have I been and why was I born? 4, what is my potential? What is my capacity? What am I capable of doing? 5, where is it that I want to go? Those 5 questions, if you can start working, most people don't know the answer to even 1, yet alone 5. If you can start journaling, right? Even, but expand, right? You know, when you open a dictionary, dictionaries usually don't have one definition of a word. They give you multiple definitions of a word. So basically what I mean is as you're starting to mature and develop, you're going to have to expand your definition of things, right? Friendship, you're going to have to expand your definition of friendship. Um, just different areas of your life, you're going to have to expand them. So one of the things that I would say to you is in trying to figure out what you want, what you stand for, what your philosophy is, what your boundaries are, what you don't want, what your values are, what your leanings are, start to expand those and their definitions, because the definitions you may have may be very linear based on where you've been brought up, what's happened to you, and what your story has been. And you may not realize that your capacity is bigger and more, and you can do more because you haven't been exposed to enough. You may not think that you like spicy food because you haven't tried the right spicy food. Right? There's a lot of people who I meet who say, I'm a fussy eater. But then you say to them, what foods have you tried? And then I basically eat dinosaurs and chicken nuggets for pretty much most of my life. But actually, one day they go randomly somewhere and they try Vietnamese food or they try Korean food or they try Nepalese food and they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Right? Because they've expanded their repertoire, their exposure, their range, their definition, but they'd never been exposed to it before. So they didn't know. So a huge amount of this is, as if you're going through this transition, Billy, is I'd say to you is risk. If you are going to move forward and progress and you don't want to feel isolated, you're going to have to risk something. And that risk may be failure, maybe being rejected. And, remember, as Jim Rohn, I said to you, is one of my first mentors and people who really helped me, is everything in life is risky. Having children is risky. You could have kids and they could die or they could be run over. You could make money. Making money, you could go make money and the crisis could happen and you could go bankrupt. You could start a business and somebody could betray you, right? Meaning there is no safety in life. We're all going to die at some point. Nobody knows when. So I say to you, get out there and live. You talk about memories, which I absolutely love, and it is important. It's not what we get that makes us happy, it's what we become and what we're able to give because we become more. Right? What we're able to share with because we become more. And so if you would like to start accumulating some of these memories, go out there, expose yourself, take the risk, go through this transition, go through what I call the coming of age period. A lot of people, particularly adults who I meet, who are unhappy with their lives, they never went through a coming of age period. A coming of age period is basically a time in your life where you experiment. You go out there and you try things with the view of it probably not working out. Because if you're looking for success, then you're not going to experiment. You're not going to create memories. The best memories people have, if you listen to people and you listen to about their best memories, is when they've been unexpected. It's when things haven't worked out. It's when things have been messy. It's when they've gone to a concert which was supposed to be hot and it's rained the entire time. That's what people laugh about. So if you want memories and some of the best memories, it needs to be messy. It can't be structured and controlled and perfect all the time, which is what I would share with you. So allow yourself to be messy. Allow yourself to fuck up. Allow yourself to mess up. Allow yourself an opportunity for grace. If you allow yourself that opportunity and you take that risk and you allow, and here's the other thing, and you allow people the grace of accepting you, because a lot of us forget that most of us were looking for an opportunity to connect with people, to make friends, to also make memories. But you have to believe in humanity in order to do this. If you are a skeptic and you genuinely believe that everybody is bad, everybody's going to reject you, everybody's going to criticize you, then of course you're not going to do anything. My recommendation to you is put yourself out there. Try and believe in humanity. The vast majority of people are good people. Yes, you're going to have some negatives. Yes, you're going to have some things that don't work out, but the vast majority of things are going to work out, and you are going to have uh, meet people who are going to accept you, but you have to put yourself out there. This doesn't mean there's not going to be obstacles. Does not mean that you might not have social anxiety, panic attacks, agoraphobia, that you might not know what to say, how to begin. I get that, but just be in the right place anyway. I think that is already half the work, right? Just be in the right place. So, what I would say to you, one of the biggest things that you want to do is get around people who love what you do. And that will also help with the girlfriend issue or boyfriend or relationship issue that you mentioned. Because at least you want to meet somebody who's got the same kind of likes as you, roughly, right? You want to meet somebody who is going to be interested in you and likes you for you. If you want somebody to accept you for who you are, then ideally you want to meet them in an area or in a situation where you're already being yourself, if this makes sense. So that's what I would recommend to you. I don't know whether it's been of value or not. I've gone on for quite a while and I've given you a lot, but I hope that can kind of start you off somehow. Um, Comment below. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, you guys know this is just my opinion. This is not absolute. Please don't take it with a pinch of salt. You know, I always say to people, think for yourself, right? Don't be a sheep. Don't be a follower, right? Think for yourself, analyze, pull me apart. Some of the things I said might be helpful, some of them might not be helpful, but don't take what I said as absolute because I don't know your specific situation. I'm only trying to give you principles and basics and fundamentals that I've learned that have worked for me and other people. It doesn't mean they're going to work for you. So that's where I think I will leave it. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.